Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Okay, so let's start with your name and where you're from, and what you're doing here.
Alright, what's up guys? It's Greg Durviage from Waterville, Ohio, number 924 on the Championship Power Sports Honda here at Redbud.
Okay, how long have you been riding?
Been riding or racing since I was 7 years old. Just kind of got into it initially riding for fun, and then started racing and progressively got a little bit faster and ended up at Loretta's at the age of 10 and went back every year until I turned pro my senior year of high school.
Okay, then you had a pretty gnarly injury in 2014. Why don't you tell us the story behind that?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of injuries throughout my career, but probably the worst one was in 2014. It happened at a track out in California. I wasn't even planning on going out there initially. My parents own a dealership, and Husqvarna is one of the lines that they carry. So they were going to a dealer convention since KTM just bought them out, and my dad was planning on going, and I wasn't even supposed to go on the trip. I just got a job as a financial advisor at the time and was already planning on giving up motocross, but my dad had something come up at the dealership and wasn't able to go, and since he didn't want my mom to go by herself, I ended up going with her. And we're just riding the new Huskies that just came out and crashed, just had a freak accident. And yeah, it was a pretty gnarly crash. I ended up breaking my hip, so I have a rod all the way down my femur. I had bleeding on the frontal lobe of my brain, and then I just completely displaced my wrist. I broke my radius and my ulna, and my arm was all funky and in an S shape. So that was actually probably the biggest part of the whole recovery. You know, the doctor wasn't sure whether I'd even be able to golf again or do normal things like snowboarding and stuff like that. So at that point, getting back on a motorcycle wasn't really even a goal of mine. So I took about 3 years off and got a bike here at the beginning of 2017 and been practicing a little bit. And now I'm here at Redbud to try to dabble a little bit with the Pro National.
Okay, let's talk about the golden days, as we like to call it, back when you were riding amateurs coming up. Who were some of the guys you used to race against?
Okay, yeah, here, I mean, at the local level, we had a lot of really good talent, which Michigan District 14 was known for. We'd be racing against Nico, Brad Keister, Brett Wagner, Dano Alzebrook, Alex Hotchkiss. And so we had a lot of talent at the local level. I believe one year in the 60 class, there were 6 kids from District 14 that made it to Loretta's. So every weekend, there was a lot of talent to go up against. But then on the national level, at the qualifiers, regionals, Loretta's, I mean, there's probably 10 factory riders now who I was racing against, between Nico Izzy, Austin Stroop, Trey Kennard, Tyler Bowers, Vince Freeze. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's a ton I'm forgetting, but it was pretty cool to grow up racing against those guys and see where they're at today.
Now, you're not like a lot of guys. You went to college and actually got a real day job. So talk about like going to college and what your actual day job is now and stuff like that.
So I went to high school, and upon graduating, decided that I wanted to go away to college full time and kind of live a normal life like a lot of kids don't. So I went to Miami of Ohio, lived away from home, and with that I wasn't able to ride about 7 or 8 months out of the year. So I pretty much just rode in the summers whenever I came home, and was fortunate enough to still have enough God-given talent to compete at the pro level, make a lot of nationals, and had a lot of fun doing it. So I graduated with a degree from Miami's business school in finance, and then went into being a financial advisor, which I've been doing for 3 years now. I opened up my business in February of 2014 and have been building that ever since, and still work 50 plus hours a week, and I sit in a desk in an office chair, so it doesn't do much for my training. But I try to ride at least 2 times a week on the weekends, and sometimes if I'm able to sneak away from appointments in the office, we have a local practice track, MX Express in Toledo, Ohio, which rides on Tuesday evenings, which sometimes, like I said, if I'm able to sneak away, I'll get into practice during the week too.
Let's talk about that for a second though, going from the injury to that. Most people in your position, they keep a bike, ride every now and then, maybe do some motos, but having a job and having to get up on Monday morning and stuff and make money to pay the bills, they wouldn't take the chance of racing, let alone try to go for, pro nationals and stuff. So let everybody know what made you decide to make that decision to come back, because that's a tough decision when you start paying your own bills and stuff, and if you get hurt, hey, there's nothing going on there. So tell everybody what your decision was on that.
Yeah, so it was a pretty hard decision, honestly. I mean, after getting hurt to that degree, like I said, I had a ton of injuries throughout my career. I've had a lot of surgeries, so getting hurt was nothing new, but it was kind of at a stage in my life where I was getting old enough. Like I said, I graduated college. I wanted to have a career. I knew motocross wasn't what I wanted to do long term. So when I got hurt, it was kind of, a sign to me that I wanted to just work full time and buckle down and start building my career away from racing. And I really wanted nothing to do with motocross for about 3 years, and it was always still in the back of my head. I love it. I started doing it when I was 7, so it's built into me. It's part of my blood, and I don't know, I just got an itch over the winter this past year, and I really wanted to try to get a bike and see how much I'd be able to ride and get away from work, because with owning my own business, I don't have a set schedule where I know I'll be able to ride at certain days of the week. So I really just wanted to hop back on a bike and see how much free time I would have to be able to even ride at all. And luckily enough, I've been able to get some time in on the bike to where I feel comfortable enough to come out here to Redbud and try to qualify this weekend. But ultimately, I mean, like I said, it's part of my blood. Whenever I'm racing or riding, I'm in my happy place. So it's a stress relief from work, and I don't know, I feel back to my normal self, which is a cool thing.
Okay. Tell us about your plans moving forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah, so don't have any plans at the moment, to be honest with you. I'm kind of just going from weekend to weekend. We'll see how Redbud goes here, but ideally I would like to do the rest of the East Coast rounds. I probably won't hit up Southwick because I have some stuff going on with work, but I would like to be able to do Millville, Unadilla, and Budds Creek. Maybe even try a Canadian National if I can make it up there, but it just all as timing and my schedule allows. I'm just trying to get through the weekend and put it in the show tomorrow here at Redbud and go from there.
Muddy Creek was last weekend, and that was your first national in a long time. I know it didn't go the best, but let everybody know how that went for you and just being back on the gate and the nerves and everything.
Yeah, so it was pretty bizarre. I actually didn't sign up until Tuesday of last week, so it wasn't even something that I was planning on doing. But I kind of, just thought I really only wanted to race Redbud, but I knew I should probably get a gate drop underneath my belt before I just came here and winged it. So I decided to do Muddy Creek. Yeah, things didn't go quite as planned. I mean, I was hoping to qualify because I know my speed's there, but I was just hoping to get the nerves out of the way, really, which is what I accomplished. And I wasn't able to qualify, and the LCQ didn't go quite as planned. I had someone crash in front of me at the start, and around the first lap I was in 20th. I was able to catch up to 9th, but with 4 laps just wasn't enough time. But I was happy with how I rode, and I had fun, came away safe, and that's really all I can ask.
Okay, so one more question for you here. A Zoe question. Have you ever rode a horse?
Oh my God.
I have.
How'd that go for you?
Oh, crap.
I have rode a horse, and it was actually just last year, so it was kind of weird. We have a family friend who has a farm, and I was over there riding at their little practice track. I think it was actually one of the first times I rode in 3 years since I got hurt, and they have a bunch of horses, and they gave me the cowboy hat, the whole 9 yards. Hopped up on it, and I didn't even ride it myself. She was still walking with the horse, holding its reins. So I don't even know if that counts, but I have been on a horse.
Oh, it counts.
Close. We'll call it close.
All right.
She got me on one for the first time last year too. It's weird. I agree with you. So Last thing, any sponsors you want to give a shout out to or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I just like to thank everyone who has stuck with me and supporting me in getting back to riding. Most of all, my mom, my dad, my family, and friends. You know, they've stuck with me through everything. But Championship Power Sports, for sure, for getting me on a bike. Nova Gloves, MX Express, the practice track that I told you about in Toledo. If anyone is around the Toledo area, I would recommend going there. They run a great program. Shift MX, Mark Powers at Shift and Fox for hooking me up with some gear. Oakley, and my mechanic Lonnie, he's always there for me, helping me out a lot, does everything that needs to be done to my bike and keeps me out there on the track. So anyone else I forgot, I appreciate it, but thanks.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, no problem.